Guys, I need your help. I am a huge fan of Reaper. I've been using it on this show since about 2015. It's been running fantastic up until recently, and I've come across a problem that I cannot find a fix to. I record a lot of amp sims on this show. Tonex, Modern Metal Songwriter, Bogren Amp Knob, you name it. There's some amazing amp sims out there. I'm using them, but here's the problem I'm running into. I'm getting this using Reaper on an M1 Mac Studio. Hear that? Clicks and pops. Needless to say, that is ridiculously frustrating. Now, I've been working on this problem for the last few months, pretty much ever since I got the M1 Mac. I mean, it's a great computer, and it chews through 4K video footage like you wouldn't believe. It is awesome for YouTube production. But for some reason, I'm running into clicks and pops on Reaper, and it doesn't seem to matter the interface I'm using. I'm running through an RME Fireface UFX Plus right now. Got that issue. Focusrite Redline 16, their top of the line interface. Guess what? It's got that problem too. Neumann MT48, one of the most glorious interfaces I've ever come across. I just demoed it. It was amazing. Still has the exact same issue. Random clicks and pops, and I don't know why. This is not living up to the promise of the M1 chip. The M1's supposed to make everything faster and more efficient. Now, I'm at 32 samples here, but even if I increase it to 64, I still get issues. I still get pops and clicks. Just at random, inappropriate times. Just enough to drive me absolutely bonkers. Even if I take the block size all the way up to 96, guess what? I still wind up getting the occasional click and pop. It's unreliable because it's so unpredictable. Granted, we're at 2.9 milliseconds latency, and the only way I can track on an M1 with an amp sim on Reaper is by using 128 blocks. That's 3.5 milliseconds. I can understand why that might not seem like such a big deal, but believe me, if you're trying to play with any kind of precision, you want to have the latency as low as possible. That's the time it takes for the sound to make a round trip from your pickup through the computer and back out your speakers. Any more than that, and it's really becoming kind of unacceptable, especially with 2023 technology. This is the maddening part. This is using the M1 Mac Studio, the computer that everybody told me was so incredibly awesome. And yet I was getting better audio performance. I could run Reaper at 64 samples of latency on a Hackintosh with about half the power that this computer has with no audio dropouts whatsoever. So my question is, what the hell's going on? So this is my typical recording setup anytime I'm doing a guitar demo. I'm running Amplitude 5 with a Tonex patch, and that's running into Spectre Digital's Prism, which is available right now as a pre-order. A couple other things here. I've got, cock blocker gate, tube take EQ, a little doing the Pultec thing. Watch my video on that, by the way, if you ever get a chance. A little stereo touch and a little L1 limiter. That's it. This is not a huge drain on the CPU at all. So I don't understand why I'm getting the clicks and pops. This is how I've got the Reaper buffer settings set up. If I'm making a mistake here, hey, somebody let me know. But as far as I know, I've got everything kind of maxed out right now. And this should be giving me absolute smooth real-time monitoring through my amp sim. Now, this is the piece of gear that changed my life. This is the Sony FX3. This just made life so much easier. Lets me get my day-to-day done so much faster in the studio. It's wonderful if you're a self-shooter. But the thing that really makes the job easy is this audio unit here on top. It's got an XLR input that handles my monologue, and then I've got the stereo 1/4 inch jack that handles a stereo guitar signal. So I'm recording 4 channels of audio into this camera at all times, which is great. It really does speed up your workflow when you don't have to resync audio every single time. Only problem is when I get those clicks and pops going out to that camera, that means I have to get out RX10 and hunt down the clicks, and that's just another step that I have to deal with when it shouldn't be happening at all. All right, now let's take a look at what happens if I change the block size to 16 and actually push this M1 chip like it's supposed to be pushed. Check out the kind of performance I'm getting. Well, I thought it sounded great for a second at least. So after trying numerous interfaces and trying multiple versions of Reaper, including a couple of these Mac OS versions here, running in Rosetta mode, finally I thought, okay, well, hold on a second here. Maybe it's not a hardware issue. Maybe I'm not the problem here. Maybe it is the software. So I thought, you know what, let's try out Studio One. I remember doing a mixed demo on it there a few years back and really enjoying it. I was very curious to see what would happen if we install it just as a normal user would. Would they run into any issues using a Mac Studio? And just to make things really interesting, I've set the block size at 16 samples. And I'm going to run the same plugin setup as well. Cock Blocker, Amplitude, Prism, TubeTech EQ, you name it. Check this out, 16 samples of latency. That's certainly some amazing performance, I gotta say. Not to mention, I am running Studio One. I'm also running ScreenFlow at the same time, and that's recording multiple audio streams as well as spitting audio out to the main camera over there. But seriously, at this latency, it's like playing a live amp. Now, this is the kind of performance I'm expecting from an M1 Mac. So far, I've been pretty impressed with Studio One. The setup was fairly straightforward. Getting everything rolling was great, no issues there. And the performance has been spectacular. I remember demoing it on the show there a few years ago and doing a mix with it, and I really liked it as a mixing platform, but I'm very cautious about getting into the editing system because that can always get really in-depth and be a little bit more confusing. But this is the sort of performance I was expecting on the M1. This is the kind of thing I've been reading about for all this time. So the big question remains, did I screw something up with Reaper? Am I running the wrong version? Or are they just not updated the code yet to take advantage of the M1 chip? Ultimately though, I need your help. If I've missed something, please let me know in a comment below because I would really love to get this resolved. And the other question I've got for you is, would you like to see other DAWs on the show? Like I said, I was pretty impressed with Studio One, but maybe I should be checking out Cubase or Logic or who the hell knows what else is out there. Maybe Harrison Mixbus needs another look at too. That might be pretty cool. Once again, I want to hear from you. I'm here to make the content that entertains you. So hey, let me know what you'd like to see.